Hello student, welcome to the third lecture of the photoelectric effect. In the last two lectures, we have seen the introductory part of the photoelectric effect, definition of it, then the definition of the photoelectric current, then how the photons are emitted from the cathode when it get illuminated with the help of a particular type of light. In addition to this one, we have also defined one more concept in the previous lecture. Now in the today's lecture, we are going to see about the Richardson and Compton experiment which was performed by the scientists Richardson and Compton to study the photoelectric effect and particularly to study the relation of the photoelectrons, their frequency, their intensity, and the potential of the cathode and the kinetic energy. So let me share my screen first, then we will see that what is the Compton effect and how this process is taking place. Now, as we have defined about the photoelectric effect, in this lecture we are going to see the Richardson-Compton experiment, relation between the photoelectric current and retarding potential, relation between the velocity of the photoelectron and frequency of light, and we will conclude with the summary. This is the experimental setup of Richardson and Compton experiment. The experimental setup, if you see on my screen, you found that it is consisting of a glass tube B. This glass tube, it is provided with the help of two windows. One is the window T, through which this glass tube B can be evacuated with the help of silver. That means the inner side of this glass tube B, it is evacuated or it is coated with the help of silver. And with the help of the window W, the monochromatic light may be incident on the cathode which is present inside this glass tube. So the inner surface of the glass tube, it is coated with the silver. That means silver coating is there to the inner surface, if you see here. And this inner surface, as it is coated with the help of silver, it acts as a anode. And this anode, it is connected to the electrometer here as shown, so that this electrometer can measure the photoelectric current which is generated during the process. One more apart inside the apparatus, one more is important factor is the cathode C. So you can see here the cathode is a metallic plate which is denoted by the symbol C, and it is suspended in this glass tube like this. And this cathode, it is then connected to the voltmeter, through the voltmeter to the battery, so that with the help of this battery, this cathode C can be put at any desired potential from some positive value to negative. There is the quartz window W, as I have told you earlier. This window is useful to illuminate this cathode with the help of this monochromatic light. The potential of the C may be maintained at any desired value with respect to anode. That means if the cathode which emits the electron during the process, if it is of positive potential or it is of negative potential, then consequently the anode will be of opposite charge. That means if the cathode is of negative potential, then anode will be of positive potential, so that the electrons which are emitted by the cathode during the process, they will be get accelerated towards the anode A, and due to this motion of the electron from C to A, that means from cathode to anode, there is a process of photoelectric effect, and due to this photoelectric effect, photoelectric current is generated, and that photoelectric current will be measured with the help of the electrometer. Now, now this potential on the C, it may be vary with the help of the voltmeter which is connected here, and we can put the cathode at potential as a +4, +2, +3, +1, 0, and then towards the negative side. That, as we have seen in the previous lecture, that at some particular value of potential of C, from C the negative charge particle starts to move, and then they will get attracted or accelerated towards the anode, and that particular potential, it is a critical potential, and it is denoted by C0, as we have seen in the previous video also. Now, relation between photoelectric current and retarding potential. In the last period, we have seen the definition of retarding potential. Retarding potential is nothing but that minimum potential at which the cathode starts emitting the charged particle, so that the photoelectric effect starts. Now, what is done? First of all, the light is incident on the cathode C. That means cathode is get irradiated with the help of monochromatic light, which comes through the window W, and the intensity of this light which incident on the C, it is suppose X. Now the potential of C, that is cathode, varies from some positive 0 to 0 and negative, +2, +1, 0, -1, -2, and so on. Then photoelectric current is generated, and it is measured with the help of the electrometer for the different value of cathode potential. And that experiment is repeated by increasing the value of the intensity of the light which incident on the C. First of all, the intensity of the incident light was x1, then critical potential was suppose V0, electric current is measured, and then the intensity goes on increasing. And when this experiment is repeated by increasing the intensity as x1, x2, x3, means by it is making double, triple, and so on, then a graph is plotted between the potential of the cathode along x-axis and the current which is emitted during the process on the y-axis. If you consider the graph which you can see here on the screen, you found that there is no current I up to the critical value V0. That means when the up to the from this portion, if you see, you found that there is no current, here there is no current, but current starts to flow just at the critical value V0. That means when the potential of the cathode was V0, at that particular potential V0, cathode starts emitting the charge particle, that is electron. And that means at that time, electrometer shows some electric current or photoelectric current, and at V0 current starts to flow, and then as we goes on increasing the potential from 0 to towards the 0, the potential, the current goes on increasing. See here, this purple portion increases very fastly, then it reaches to maximum at value of critical potential is 0. And then if the value is again increased toward the right side, we found that the potential, even though it goes on increasing toward the right side, but the current becomes saturated. It does not increase, but it becomes constant. And this is happening even at the when the velocity, when the intensity is x1, it is also happening in the intensity x2 and so on. This process is found to be same, and we observed from this graph also that even though the intensity goes on increasing from x1, x2 to x3 also, but at that time the potential in each case, it is for critical potential, it is found to be same, that is V0, but the maximum electric current which is generated during the process, it goes on increasing as the intensity increases. When the intensity was x1, potential is somewhat at I1, and but when the intensity goes on increasing to x2, x3, the electric current which is generated during the process is also going on increasing from I2 to I1 to I2 and I2 to I3 and so on. That means thus I1 is maximum current when the intensity is x1, and as the intensity is double current or it is triple, the maximum current is also increases to I2, I3 and so on, but the potential, that is critical potential V0, it remain constant. And therefore from this particular discussion or this graph, we will conclude that the maximum current, that is IM, suppose I1, I2, I3, in general it is called as IM, maximum current, it is proportional to the intensity X, and we can write this equation in a symbol as Im proportional to x, and we also conclude that the critical potential V0, it is independent of the intensity. As from the graph, it is clear that even though the intensity goes on increasing as x1, x2, x3 and so on, but the critical potential, it remains same, that is V0. That means we conclude here in the first case that critical potential V0 is independent of the intensity. Now the second relation we will see between the velocity of the photoelectrons and the frequency of light which is incident on it. Now this time the same experiment is slightly changed. Now here instead of changing the intensity as x1, x2, x3 and so on, instead of the intensity, now here we are changing the wavelength of the incident light. First of all, we will incident the light of wavelength lambda1 on the cathode. Then we will incident the light of wavelength lambda2 on the cathode, and then we will incident the monochromatic light of wavelength lambda3 on the cathode in the same way. And the intensity of illumination for each wavelength is adjusted in such a way that it should give the same value Im. That means by adjusting the potential, critical potential, we will found that we will change the critical potential during each wavelength lambda1, lambda2, lambda3 in such a way that wavelength changes, critical potential changes, but total current which is emitted during the process, it will remain same. That is maximum current is I max is same at every time. So you can see from this figure that in each case the photoelectric current for I for different values of V is here, and the nature of the curve, it is seen that the lambda1, lambda2, lambda3, the critical potential is V1 is less than V2 is less than V3. That means as the wavelength of the light increases, the critical potential goes on decreasing. This means that as the critical potential is decreasing, means that the maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectrons which are emitted by the cathode C, that is, it is given by 1/2 mv square. Here Vm square is equals to EV0, and with increasing frequency of light, since V0 is independent, but we have seen that V0, that is the critical potential, is independent of the intensity in previous case, and that's why from this one we will conclude that velocity and kinetic energy of the photoelectrons which are emitted by the C are independent of the intensity but depend upon the frequency of incident light. That means in the previous case we have made one conclusion. Now here we are making the one more conclusion that the photoelectrons which get emitted through the cathode C at the particular value of the incident light of wavelength lambda1, lambda2 or lambda3, the velocity of these photoelectrons and the kinetic energy of these photoelectrons, it is independent of the intensity. Whether the intensity is increases or decreases, velocity and kinetic energy of this photoelectron does not get affected. But the intense velocity and kinetic energy of the photoelectrons will get affected when the frequency of the incident light which is coming through the window W and falling on the cathode, it changes. And that means in the one line we will make the conclusion that velocity and kinetic energy of the photoelectrons are independent of the intensity but depend upon the frequency of the incident light. So here if we plot the graph between the frequency on x-axis and kinetic energy of the emitted photoelectrons on the y-axis, you found that the nature of the graph is just like a straight line. And when the straight line graph is obtaining between the kinetic energy, that EV0, and the frequency nu, then we can find the slope on it. The plot slope can be obtained. And the slope from this, if the slope is plot on that one, we found that the line of this slope will cut the x-axis, that is frequency axis, at some point V0, or you may call this a nu zero. And this nu zero is the threshold frequency. That means the intercept of the frequency axis represents the threshold frequency, and it is denoted by nu zero. And therefore this threshold frequency can be defined as minimum frequency of the incident light below which the photoelectric emission stops completely. That means up to that one, if the photoelectric current will start from the frequency nu zero, if the value of the frequency of the incident light which fall on the cathode is below nu zero, then there will be no photoelectric effect, or photoelectric effect will be stopped. But however intensity may be there, frequency should be more or less, it will changes the incident light of photoelectrons, but however intensity may be anywhere. At threshold frequency, the kinetic energy of the emitted photoelectrons is zero, and therefore equation of the, we can write 1/2 mv square, that is kinetic energy, it is equals to ev0, it should be equal to h nu minus h nu 0, and 1/2 this h here in this case it is the Planck's constant, and therefore we can write in general 1/2 v m square, that means kinetic energy, it is equal to h nu minus nu 0, and here is the h is the Planck's constant, it is the difference in the frequency, and that's why these two relations we have seen here. If I summarize the lecture, we found that in this lecture we have seen that relation between the maximum current and the intensity of the light which is incident. So we found that the maximum current Im, it is proportional to the intensity of light, that is Xm. Secondly, we will found in this particular lecture that critical velocity V0 of the cathode potential of the cathode, which is denoted by V0, which is called as the critical potential, it is independent of the intensity. If the intensity of the light which falls on the cathode, if it is more or less, it is immaterial to the critical potential. Critical potential of the cathode V0, it will not depend upon the intensity of that particular light which is incident on it. That means V0 is not proportional to x1, x2, x3 and so on. It is independent of that one. Then one more conclusion we made, that velocity and kinetic energy of the photoelectrons, the electrons which are emitted from the cathode during this photoelectric effect, it is independent of the intensity of illumination, but it depends upon the frequency of that one. And secondly, we also concluded that velocity and kinetic energy of the photoelectrons is depend upon the frequency of the incident light. And the next more important concept we have defined here, that is the threshold frequency. So this is sufficient for today's lecture. Thank you for joining me for this lecture. Have a nice time ahead.